everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Donna Gray and I'm bringing you a super pretty card today using the Positive Thoughts stamp set and the Nature's Thoughts dies that coordinate with our Positive Thoughts stamp set. Now the Nature's Thought dies, if you're watching this before the 4th of February, will be coming available on the 4th of February 2020. If you're watching this after the 4th of February, they will be available right now through our online store. They're coordination products and they've been designed to go with our gorgeous Positive Thoughts stamp set. So this stamp set is super pretty. I've done a few things ahead of time to save time, but I will show you my stamping techniques. So it's a gorgeous stamp set. It's got some beautiful foliage, some lovely butterflies, and with the framelets coordinating with it, it is a super pretty set. Okay. So we've got a base of Seaside Spray. So my color combination for this card will be Night of Navy, Seaside Spray, and Smoky Slate is my color scheme. So I'm starting off with a base cut at 5 3/4 by 8 inches, and I will fold that in half, and that will create the base of our card. So when it's folded in half, that gives you a card front size of 4 inches this way by 5 3/4 inches this way. So I then have a piece of Night of Navy to layer up, and it's cut at 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. So just 1/4 of an inch smaller. And this one here, I have cut 1/8 of an inch smaller than my Night of Navy, just so I get a really fine slither of that Night of Navy in behind my Whisper White. And it is cut at 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, am I right with that? Sorry, yes, 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. That's correct. Okay. So I started to second guess myself then. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to just use my Whisper White piece, and I'm going to start to stamp with this large leafy image here with our Smoky Slate. And I'm going to do a bit of a textured background here for my other images to sit up on. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to ink that up in Smoky Slate. I'm going to stamp one there, and second generation without re-inking, another one, and third generation, a third one. Okay, so it's going to create a really good look. And for the next one, I'm actually going to stamp off on a scrap piece of paper. I'll just grab a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to stamp off on a scrap piece of paper because I want the next one here to be the second generation of stamp rather than the first. So I'm going to ink that up again with my Smoky Slate. I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp back on. And I'm going to do that twice again. Okay, so you can see I've got a beautiful spray of that leafy image in behind my focal point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sponging technique. So sometimes when we get a stamp, we look at it and we think that would be really nice, but I don't actually want it to be all the one color, okay? So sponge daubers come in really handy for getting this effect. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to ink up the flower in our Seaside Spray, and then I'm going to sponge some of the Night of Navy ink on it. So I'm just going to clean that off first. So I'm going to ink it up in our Seaside Spray nicely. Then I'm going to grab my Night of Navy ink with my sponge dauber, and I'm just going to sponge in the middle of the flower. So I want the middle of the flower to look a little bit darker than the outside, and then I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, and you'll get the flower with the darker center. Now remember to clean your stamp after each time, because you will have the Night of Navy on your stamp and you don't want to contaminate your Seaside Spray stamp ink pad. So once again, in the middle with my Night of Navy, and stamp that down. Okay, and we want 3 flowers for this, so I'm going to clean that off again. I'm going to ink it up in my Seaside spray. I'm going to grab some Night of Navy in the center and stamp that 3rd one down. Okay, so you can see you've got that beautiful graduated flower. You can do it the other way around. You can actually do the outside edges if you wanted to. Now I'm actually going to take the butterfly and I'm going to do a similar thing with the butterfly, but I'm actually going to use the Smoky Slate and the Night of Navy. So I'm going to ink it up with Smoky Slate, so most of the butterfly is Smoky Slate, and what I've got left on my dauber I'm going to just pop on the edge of my butterfly and stamp that down. And that way we get the Smoky Slate butterfly with the gorgeous navy, Night of Navy edges all around. Okay, so, and the only other thing that we need to do, which I had a sentiment piece out here, but I've misplaced it. I'll grab another piece. We're going to stamp our sentiment and we are going to fussy cut the sentiment. And I know a lot of people go, oh my Lord, I don't want to do that. But it is not a hard thing to do. So I actually want sending positive thoughts. I don't, oh, and it's too high. I'm going to stamp that down a bit lower. I don't actually want and feel good wishes. I just want sending positive thoughts, because I thought this would be fantastic for sending to somebody that's having a little bit of a hard time at the moment. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to fussy cut that sentiment. So as you can see, I did try on my first one of actually like masking these off, but these 2 letters and these 2 letters were like way too close and I had a hard time. So I decided that when all else fails, a little bit of fussy cutting doesn't hurt anyone. And the more you do it, as I've said in my videos before, the more you do it, the more you get into it and the more you start to realize that it's really not that hard to fussy cut your sentiment. I just think it actually creates a much better look on your card instead of just a straight rectangle with the sentiment on it. That's my thoughts, but you can type into the comments below if you like fussy cutting or if you simply do not like fussy cutting and never want to fussy cut ever. Tell me whether you think that it looks a lot nicer when it's actually fussy cut. I just think it made it into a much more delicate sentiment. Okay, so there we have the sentiment fussy cut. So now, ahead of time, I have used some of the framelits out of these gorgeous coordination framelits. So I've used this framelit here in Night of Navy. I've used this gorgeous leaf in our Smoky Slate. And I've used the cute little butterfly in Night of Navy, and I've used these 2 framelits to actually cut out the flowers. So I've done all that ahead of time, so you didn't actually have to wait and see me fussy cut those items out. So I'll just bring all that in. So we have all these gorgeous pieces. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place them around and see where I want them to sit. Okay. Now I've got these, I did these in Night of Navy because I wanted to have a really nice contrasting look, and the gorgeous grey leaf in behind is simply stunning. So I've got 3 of these beautiful little Night of Navy foliage. And I think I'm going to pop the 3rd one down there. So this is what I do. I actually design what it's going to look like before I stick it all together. I design what it's going to look like. Nope, I don't like that there. I think I'll like that one better there. Yes. And I could either pop that one up there. No, I think I'm going to pop it down through here or there. That's looking pretty. Okay, so I've got cute little, tiny little Night of Navy butterflies, which I think I would like to scatter them around. And I've got our gorgeous butterfly that we've stamped and cut out. So I'm thinking a gorgeous butterfly. That needs to go down in there a little bit more. give more room for our butterfly up in the top there. And I think this one could be quite cute up there. And then we've got our sending positive thoughts to go across the middle here, like that. So I'm thinking that arrangement looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to pull that apart bit by bit, and I think I'm going to pop up my 3 flowers. So I'm going to pull my 3 flowers out. I'm going to leave all that foliage where I've got it sitting, and I'm going to pull the 3 flowers out and pop some dimensionals on the back of those. Okay. And I'm just going to pop the dimensionals in the middle of my flowers so that I'm able to pop all those other foliage pieces in underneath my flowers. So I'm just putting 1 dimensional in the middle of each of those flowers. So I'm going to pop that one just there. I'm going to pop this one overlapping that one just there, leaving my foliage everywhere. And that one there, I'm just going to pull that leaf out, but I'm going to pop that just in there. So we've got our beautiful flowers all good to go. So now I'm just going to take a glue dot, and on this large leaf here, I'm going to pop a glue dot on behind that, and we're going to slide that in underneath there, like that. Next one, we're going to grab this gorgeous Night of Navy one. Now be careful with these, they're very, very delicate. So be careful when you go to pull your glue dot off that you don't break your die cut. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that one in under my flower there. Now for my butterfly up the top here, I'm going to actually just roll a glue dot, because it's such a fine, delicate die cut. So I've rolled the glue dot, popped it on my pokey tool, and I'm just going to lay that in the body of that cute little butterfly. I'm going to bend his little wings up so he gives a little bit of dimension, and we're going to pop him up there in that corner, like so. Okay, a few more glue dots on these pieces. One goes in under there. So once again, be careful with this really delicate die cut piece that you don't tear that die cut. And I'm going to poke him in under there. This one, pop him on my glue dot. And we're going to poke him in under there. And our leaf can pop in up under that one, like so. So you can see this is coming together really, really beautifully. I absolutely fell in love with this bundle. I'm just going to roll that again. I fell in love with the stamp set to start off with, but as soon as they brought out the coordinating framelets, I was like, I am definitely getting those framelets, because that has just taken this bundle to, this stamp set to a whole new level. I'll pop that one there. And I think our beautiful butterfly, I'm going to grab just a small mini dimensional to pop in the middle of our butterfly and pop him up on the corner up the top. Like so. And our sentiment, I'm actually just going to glue with our, actually I'm just going to pop some glue dots on the back of that sentiment. I think that will be the easiest way. So I'm just going to roll some glue dots again, just to go on the back of our sentiment. I'm just going to put it in the middle third of that sentiment label. like so, and that can straddle across those gorgeous flowers. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close up my ink pads so I don't get that all over me. And I will layer that up with my liquid Tombow onto the front of my card. If my Tombow wants to come out, I think I nearly need a new bottle. We got there in the end. Okay, so I'm going to mount that up onto my Night of Navy base. And remember, the liquid Tombow is great for being able to maneuver that around to get that super, super fine 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, now I'm going to pop that onto the front of my card. Because we've got a fair bit of dimension, I think I'm just going to glue it directly straight onto my card. And try this glue and see if it's got any more in it. Oh, that one feels nice and full. Okay, so liquid Tombow. And we'll pop that on like that. Now I want to do an insert layer as well. So I'm going to take this one here. And I'm just going to, sending positive thoughts. What's the other steps? I think I'm going to do this, friends like you mean more every year. I think that's gorgeous to have on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to mount that up onto a block. And I think I'm going to ink that in our Night of Navy ink. And I'm going to pop that in the middle of that insert, like that. And then I'm going to grab my foliage piece again, and I'm going to grab my smoky slate. And I'm going to grab scrap piece of paper there. So I'm going to ink that up on my smoky slate. And I'm going to stamp off once and stamp on over that sentiment. Just like that. So we've got a gorgeous insert layer. So now we'll just glue that on the inside of my card. And now there's a couple of finishing touches that I just want to add to this gorgeous card. So I'll pop that in the center. Okay, so just like that. And I will grab my Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to go over the butterfly with some Wink of Stella. And in the centers of my flowers with my Wink of Stella. And I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella on the body of those little butterflies. And then with my Wink of Stella, I'm going to squeeze a little bit to get some Wink of Stella coming down through the barrel. And I think this poor one is nearly empty. But I'm then going to grab just my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to spritz that Wink of Stella all over the front of my card. And you will see that that adds a beautiful amount of glimmer and sparkle to the card. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Feel free, if this is the first time you have watched my YouTube channel, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All of the items used in the video today, which is the Positive Thoughts stamp set and the Nature's Thoughts coordinating dies, can be purchased through my online store, and the link to my online store is in the show more box down below. And you can even call me and place your order. If you live in Australia, call me and place your order over the phone, and my phone number is in the information box down below too. So hopefully you enjoyed this super beautiful card using the positive thoughts, and until next time, have a lovely day. Bye for now.